This update just hit me in the feels more than any Ashes of Creation dev update has ever. I actually welled up and maybe even shed a tear watching the visual masterpiece that is Ashes of Creation's Riverland biome, showing possibly their most impressive technology developed to date, their dynamic seasons and weather. This may sound like a mundane feature, but by the end of this video you will understand why I say Ashes of Creation has just created season and weather technology completely unique and unmatched in terms of its visuals and actual tangible effect on gameplay. And I mean of any game ever, let alone this much depth being present within one feature in the MMO with the largest and most ambitious feature scope ever, Ashes of Creation. At this point, if even half the planned features of this project make it into the final product, and if each individual feature has this much depth, the world in this game truly is going to suck hours away, feeling like mere minutes. And if every planned feature comes to pass with this kind of depth, I might just be 40 by the time this game actually releases, and 80 by the time I have done everything there is to do in the game. Or just maybe Steven and the team are in fact as capable as they present themselves, and we will only have to wait a fraction of that time. Weather may have been a fairly surface level concept in most games you have played, barely actually affecting your character visually and gameplay wise. This month's incredibly impressive showcase has let us all in on one very important fact. Seasons and weather in Ashes of Creation will be like nothing you have ever experienced. First, let's talk about the visual aspects of this system, then later the functionalities. Let's jump straight into the footage of Steven actually running around in the world as a Vek, my favorite race. This is the first time a Vek has actually been shown in-game as a playable character. The first thing I noticed is some fairly frilly clothing is adorned, and in my opinion a little odd choice for a Vek. But then I realized Steven deliberately chose to wear a clothing set with lots of cloth physics, as well as the feathers on the crown and shoulder areas that appear to have similar physics. This clothing choice was to show off the fact that wind for sure, and possibly other weather effects like snow and rain, as this system is developed further, actually affect player clothing physics and appearance. Just look at the feathers and the cape blowing around depending on the wind strength. The ribbons particularly look so real, twisting and turning. And though the cloth and feather physics are great, look at the foliage being blown around and how natural and seamless it appears. There's even ripples of wind along the grass, which if you have ever gone outside, which is cringe, and of course I don't do that, but if you have, you would know this is so mind-blowingly realistic. But that is far from the only impressive visual tech. Keep in mind as we continue to watch this footage, the seasons will transition in mere seconds as opposed to the hours it will take in the actual game. As we can see, not only do trees, flowers, grass, and foliage change color, wither away, and disappear almost fully, and then grow back and bloom again as the seasons pass by, the creatures also change colors and textures matching the seasons. Just an awesome level of detail I have never seen in any game. I also noticed many of the animals I remember from back in Alpha 1 were shown in this footage and look significantly more detailed and higher fidelity. The same goes for the foliage and general landscape. All I can say is Intrepid made the right decision to move to Unreal 5. If you have been watching this footage closely, you would see snow piles up on raised areas first and melts away from crevices last. Water pools up on the sunken areas of the ground and drips off the edges of raised areas. Leaves fall across your screen when you are around trees on a windy day, butterflies come out in the spring and summer. Just an insane level of detail. Everything I've talked about so far is only the tip of the iceberg on how many things seasons and weather affects. Keep watching, especially if you are a skeptic on Ashes of Creation as a project. Now for the real impressive part. The functional impact of Ashes of Creation's seasons and weather. Player combat abilities themselves change in effectiveness depending on the season and weather. In midwinter, fire type abilities may do less damage or have a reduced area of effect for AoE abilities, and vice versa, frost type will be extra effective. These buffs and debuffs are not just season based, but also affected in the same way by weather events like freak storms. Certain seasons will also bring physical obstructions, aka seasonally restricted content. As you can see here, to access these little ruins, there is an ice wall in the winter preventing that, and then as spring and summer come, this ice wall melts away. Again, remember, this would normally happen in hours, not seconds as it is here. There is indeed a treasure within these ruins. By the way, speaking of a glorious gleaming holy sandal, join my Discord linked at the top of the description. So we know seasonal obstructions can come in the form of an ice wall blocking content, whether that be a dungeon, ruins, or an area that normally has gatherable resources. I would, however, bet Intrepid are going to take it far beyond that. The ice wall blocking one entrance may open up access to climb to a higher location. The heavy rains of spring and fall may fill underground dungeons and caves with water. Wildfires could occur in the peak of summer heat, temporarily restricting an area. The possibilities are out there. Normally, a single season will last 1 week with a 4-season rotation in a month in the final game. Although seasons changing will not only be time-based, but also triggered by events that occur, such as a world boss spawning in a certain area of the world, or a relic being acquired by a node, the player cities within the game, and activated by the mayor of that node. The reason a node would be interested in using a relic to change seasons is seasons affect crop rotations on freehold player housing, gatherable resource spawn rates, mob spawn rates, and loot tables. As well, player mounts, caravans, and naval ships will be affected in their speed or routes they are able to take. A mountain pass that normally has the fastest caravan trade route may fill with snow in the winter, leaving a much slower trade route the only option. A windstorm blowing in the right direction will speed up player ships as well as naval caravans, so you begin to see how much of an impact seasons will really have, especially on things like the in-game economy due to resource and trade limitations. Who knows what other possible effects seasons and weather will have? Remember, this is a very, very early first look at the Alpha 2 version of this system. And also remember, this is only the seasons and weather tech being shown off in one biome, the Riverlands. Imagine how different things might be in the tropics, snowy mountains, desert, lava zones around volcanoes, and most of all, I am incredibly curious how and if they will implement seasons and weather in the network of tunnels under the world of Vera, the Underrealm. This video should change your mind about Ashes of Creation if you are a naysayer, and I know there are a few, and for very good reason. MMO players are practically beaten dogs at this point, with every AAA title being monetized out the ass and pay to win, and almost every previous crowd-funded project, like Ashes of Creation, result in nothing or just utter garbage. But now, even a skeptical onlooker of this project has to admit that the character creator shown 2 months ago was one thing. That was impressive, but even there were a few spurgs claiming that it was a copy and pasted default character creator from UE5. This update is irrefutable proof of groundbreaking technology Intrepid have developed from the ground up, and in my opinion is the most impressive thing Intrepid have ever shown in a developer update. Not that I don't love concept art, 3D models, and lots of talking about what's going to be in the game, but this is real. It's here right now, and it's incredibly impressive and promising. Again, the character creator was amazing, but not a total innovation on character creators, leaping far beyond other games. Although a few more years of development, and maybe it will be. But this weather tech already checks that box of being totally innovative for me. And just imagine how it will also progress in the next few years. If you are new hear Intrepid's motto, and it's almost getting tiresome to hear it, but then again, it's the most important thing for the community to know, so I get why they say it so much, is that everything they do is in a constant state of iteration and development. Steven even said during this update they will even iterate and improve their visuals and systems after launch, not just add more content in the form of expansions. And this is exactly what we've seen. Time and time again, we are shown early versions of things in dev updates, and then a few months later in another one we are shown a much better and more fleshed out version of that. The next big one, hopefully, is going to be the new combat. Now is the time, change your mind and join the community of cautiously optimistic onlookers, hoping upon hope that Ashes of Creation could just be the next truly great game that eats years of our lives. Or the greatest scam of all time. Amen, PogChamp. And that is the end of the Seasons and Weather showcase this month, but stick around as there are a few more great tidbits from this month's stream. This is some concept art of the Alpha 2 spawning zone for the Ayla humans. Intrepid's concept art and their actual implemented in-game counterpart are almost always completely one-to-one, so it's safe to assume what you are looking at is what you will see if you decide to spawn in the Ayla humans Divine Gateway during Alpha 2. Next, we have a really cool reveal of one of the minor races that's going to be present in Alpha 2 called the Druids. Definitely sharing a couple of similarities to the Pyre. I wonder if they will hang around the same areas as the Pyre starting zone. Lastly, but definitely not least, we have our first look ever, I think, at any ability with an augment applied to it. This appears to be an augment on the Mage's Blink ability. Instead of an instant teleport, you kind of swiftly hover in a ball of black and green smoke, and I would imagine this augment sacrificing the instant teleport does something like damage anyone it touches with poison damage. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update as much as I did, showing off, in my opinion, the most impressive technology Intrepid have ever shown off in the world of Ashes of Creation to date. If you want to subscribe to this channel and see more content like this, go ahead and do that. Like this video if you want to help me out a little bit, and follow my Twitch if you want to see me stream Ashes of Creation once Alpha 2 comes around. I'm also creating a Discord server, or rather I have created one. That will be linked at the top of the description and in a pinned comment in the comments down below. Again, thank you very much for watching. Bye.